All right, we are joined by the great Brian Dawkins, and we always love seeing B-Dawk back here in Philly. And you're coming up here a lot. You're really investing your time in Philly, and you're doing some great things with some of the schools up here. How important is it for kids, especially in Philadelphia and Florida, to understand cerebral wellness? A lot of people are talking about mental health, but I like the phrase you coined, cerebral wellness.
Well, cerebral wellness is what I call it, obviously, and the reason that is because of the stigma behind mental health. Like, I know growing up where I grew up, if you just say the word mental, even though that's not the way it's defined in the dictionary, when I say mental, something negative comes to my mind, whether that be straight jacket, whether that be, excuse the term, crazy, whether that be self-harm, depression. No, some of those things are illnesses. But so the problem is that we have not separated those things. And that's one of the biggest stigmas with mental health. So I've changed it to cerebral wellness. And so cerebral has to do with more information gathering. You don't make emotional decisions. You gather more information. And wellness has to do with the things that you do in your life mentally and physically and spiritually, so you to be the best that you can every day. And so you put those two together, those are two positive things. So every time that I say cerebral wellness, it's hopeful.
You know, there's a lot of athletes, guys who make millions of dollars, very successful, who have opened up more and more in this town. Brandon Brooks, Kevin Love, a lot of athletes. And it's great to see that it's become acceptable to discuss these things in public. How much has that changed since you came into the league?
Oh, it's night and day. That was not the case growing up. And here's the thing I will also say. Do not feel pressured that you have to talk about what you're going through in public. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about, if you do need to get some help, then you just speak to somebody and you get the help. And when you're ready to tell people, hey, this is, or if you ever get to the point that you want to tell others, then you do. So I don't ever want an athlete or anyone to feel like I have to then go public with what no, you deal with it behind closed doors. As long as you deal with it. That's the key, because when you deal with it, you help yourself out. And if you help yourself out, your family will be better off because of it as well.
And how important is it for you that kids at a young age start to understand, if they're not feeling completely right or they're having thoughts, that they do need to seek help? Because if it compounds over a long period of time, how much does that affect a person?
It can be very detrimental to a person when you never go out. I always use myself as an example. So when I was dealing with the things that I dealt with growing up and I was stuffing all that stuff down, I was not talking about it. It then erupted and burst out of me in a bad way down the road. So it never goes away. It's just tucked away, and it's building pressure and more pressure around it. And so the thing that I would say is recognize, first of all, that you have people in your life that you can talk to, because we do. We all have at least one person that we can talk to in our families. And if you feel like you do not, then you have profession. There are always the numbers that you can reach out to. And so the first thing that you have to get past the embarrassment. The embarrassment comes that, look at me, I'm different. Nope, you're just like everybody else. Because we all go through something. Every last one of us, every last person that's walking the face of this earth or ever has, all has gone through something, right? We all just deal with things differently. So the help is there. The things that you can do to help you in that space are out there. We're talking about them more, whether that be journaling, whether that be tapping, whether that be exercise. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do to help you. So we know more of those things. So obviously you can do those things. But again, the most important thing for me is to recognize that you do have people in your life that you can talk to, and you're never alone.
How important is it to you that you have the ability to get into these schools and come up here? And you're, of course, a legend in football. You're a Hall of Famer, but it's almost like you're creating a new legacy for yourself about what you want to be known as and helping people.
Yeah. So when I was playing the game of football, I was all into that. That's what I did. That's the gift that I had, to do things in that way. What it blessed me with is a platform, though, to be able to reach people in a different way. So the passion that I have now is to help people. It's to help people to go on to develop and recognize the better versions of themselves that already exist. They just don't know it yet. So when that better version comes out, they go on to do some just wonderful things with their lives. And with them going to that next place, their families change. Their outlook on life changes, right? So that's the space that I'm in now, to help other people come up with their own visions and dreams to go after in life. Because that's literally what I did in Jacksonville, Florida. I came up with a dream that I wanted, and I came up with a vision that I wanted to go after, and I went after it. And because of that, I'm able to see things from a different perspective than I did when I was in the neighborhood that I grew up in. But I know that it does not matter where you start. It literally matters sometimes with one change in thought of where you then end up. And the mess, so to speak, becomes a powerful message that you can preach or teach.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about the programs and the things you're involved in here in Philly, and what it can do for kids and families here in Philly?
So I'm blessed to team up with the Caring People's Alliance to be able to provide some assistance to single parents. And that's what the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation, that's one of the principles that we stand upon, is helping those single parents. I know what the plight of those in my neighborhood that did not have a father in the household. I lost two of my best friends to the streets because of that. I believe largely because of that. And so if we can then assist now from where I stand and where I'm blessed to be, the foundation, if we can then bless those children and those adults to be able to do some of the things so that they can come up with a vision for their lives that they want to go after, that will separate them from what their eyes are seeing around them in their neighborhoods. Yes, we want to be a part of that. So it's a blessing for me to have this opportunity, and I'm just thankful that Caring People Alliance will want to team up and do this.
All right, B-Dog, good seeing you again.
All right.